right, it's new newspaper review, and we are so delighted to welcome you to the segment of Good Morning Anambra show. There's a time we take to look at stories making the headlines on some of our national dailies. And of course, you have the opportunity to call and be a part of what we are doing here. Already we have in the studio this morning the MD of National Light Newspapers, is Sachoka Nabife, in the studio to help really look at the papers. Sachoka, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
You look so awesome this morning.
I like the stretch of the vowel.
And something is happening.
Quite amazing.
Well,
so good to have you this morning.
Should be, yes. Well, it's good to look forward to the day.
Happy birthday to you.
Hi. Why are you doing that? Thank you.
I'm actually going to do that.
I am blushing already.
And guess what?
Yes.
Happy birthday to you.
Really?
Yeah.
So you see, that's actually a coincidence.
So I got a birthday mate here.
Yes, you do, right? And I'm actually wishing both of you a wonderful happy birthday.
All right, let's run. Let's run. We take the first story from ABS website right away. The first story is saying, Mrs. Obiano tasked women on child upbringing, nation building. Long vacation, parents enjoined to guard children against social vices. Obiano marks 30th wedding anniversary, assures Obosi community of intervention on erosion challenges. Investors asked to explore opportunities in Anambra manufacturing sector. And finally, cancer. Nigerians charged to maintain healthy lifestyle. Sachuka,
yeah.
Where do we begin? Let's begin with congratulations.
Interesting stories they're making.
Well, let me first congratulate His Excellency on 30th anniversary of his wedding. Oh, no be granite. I tell you, as somebody who had been through 30 months, and you know what 30 years means in marriage. Congratulations, Your Excellency. And also, I am particular about, I want to join what Osodieme said about children upbringing. I want to join it with the issue of children on holiday and charging parents to encourage the children against social vices. You know, there's a big challenge with children being at home because we are not wired in contemporary, particularly urban societies. We are not wired to having the children at home when we go to work, or when we go for our businesses. Daddy goes to where his daily bread comes from. Mommy heads there, and then you find the children at home. They either bicker or fight or destroy what is at home, or actually see that opportunity as a time to seek one adventure or the other. But then these adventures depends on how you wire your home, how you set up the home. And nobody can set up any home perfectly. The only thing is that the little time we have around, we try as much as possible to sow those, in psychology, it is more like a framing. You give them within the frames that they should follow. It's not easy in this society, in these days, when beating is getting out of fashion, when corporal punishment is no longer advised. But how are you going to do it in an African society? Do you have enough holiday engagements? I am not a fan of our holiday lessons. Totally I'm not. Because after those academic things, the children should go for other things that is more unlike what they were used to. It could be go to learn music, go to learn how to create with art, like art. Go and learn dancing and all the rest. Those are the things that would take them off, because that time they see it as a loiter hour.
All right, I think we have to run for want of time. Let's quickly go to the next paper for review this morning.
Let's look at the first paper today, Daily Sun. How APC senators plan to unseat Saraki. As coming from RAPC. Underneath that story, NNPC denies funding impeachment plot as Ita Enang pleads for reconvening of NAS. It's cheap blackmail coming. That's from APC. On top of that story, Governor Umahi Knox Oshamale describes APC chair's comments during Ebonyi visit as childish blackmail. Apapa gridlock, Lagos begins expansion of truck terminal in Orile. Akpabio meets Buhari in London, anxiety in Akwa Ibom over senators' defection rumor. 2019 we deserve better Nigeria. That's coming from ex-president Obasanjo. 9 core members drown in Taraba during picnic. Now let's look at the big story there. How APC senators plan to unseat Saraki. That's coming from our APC.
In communication, particularly in public communication, when you talk about what people call propaganda, which is not negative.
Okay.
Propaganda is a very big tool, is government, establishment information, not just only government. In such a public publicity end, what we call this is you are being, you are striking, you are adversarial. Remember, it is RAPC, Reformed APC, that is telling you how they intend. It is more like forecasting. Okay. It is more like being ahead. You don't allow the adversary to be behind, to lead you so that you be behind. So it is actually more like foreclosing, trying as much as possible to, when I say Ebere wants to strike me, you understand, the police should already be guarding me before Ebere's strike comes.
Okay, sure.
So that's exactly what they are doing. They are doing adversarial propaganda. You understand? You don't know whether it is true or not, but they have put it in public domain so that when it comes, you say, did we not tell you? So even if they were planning it, this information has actually come ahead of them. So their timing would definitely be wrong.
All right,
timing is very important.
Let's now look at the other papers because of time. Daily Times newspapers, the first story, the big story making the headline, Saraki, Tambuwal, others. Defection won't affect Buhari's re-election, APC spokesman. With riders, the APC lifts suspension of Senator Sani as Akpabio joint party Wednesday, holds FG APC responsible if Nigeria democracy derails, says PDP. Up there we have Forex trading, T-bills, others hit 86.4 trillion naira in 6 months. With rider hike by 19.1 trillion to 22.1% in 1 year, as external reserves steady at $47.06 billion. At the right, we have stories there. Senator Ndume criticizes EFCC over kid gloves treatment to Ekweremadu. FAN reads riot act to politicians over security breaches at airports. How Nigeria loses 3.6 trillion naira on agro-export commodities. And the last story on the front page there says, Kano deputy governor resigns ahead of impeachment moves. Let's take it from there.
How would Nigeria be losing such amount on agro-export when we are trying to encourage export of agricultural products? When that is what we dearly need. Let me tell you something. In the U.S., soybean alone is being used to counter China, the deficit they have with trading with China against in Europe. Soybean. Now, we are doing our best to have alternate economies, that is, alternate exports apart from crude oil. And a state like Anambra is championing it with things like vegetable. And states are producing yam and all the rest, and states are producing other grains that we export. And then we are having deficit through that export. That means that the authorities that are relevant to this equation must actually live up to it so that we all move in the grand Nigerian dream. There was a news item that we couldn't meet because of time. But let me also, it also keys into what we call national economic aspiration. Lagos is expanding terminal in Orile and environs to check the traffic gridlock in Apapa Express, Apapa Wharf, and Apapa, the expressways around Apapa due to the port, the seaport. And I'm asking, does that solve the situation? Exactly. You have only one port, one seaport active in the country, and they are all concentrated in one 2-lane road in the country.
You mean the road should be expanded?
Even if you expand the road, why would every export land on the port in Lagos? Don't we have other ports, eastern ports,
that's
in
Onitsha, that's a very big
in
question.
One, in Calabar, in Makurdi, in Baru, and others.
In Port Harcourt,
yes, in Port. That's One in Port Harcourt.
All right, that's a very big
so
question.
So it's a grand economic thinking. It's deliberately, we are deliberately creating our problems, and we are solving it by placing a balm on it, not
all right, let's
medication.
quickly go to the next paper now.
Let's see the next paper this morning, The Punch. Kaduna APC defies Oshomole over Sani. Kano Deputy Governor resigns. Underneath that story, defection. Akpabio meets Buhari in London. Reformed APC rep group alleged plots to bribe lawmakers to remove Saraki Dogara. On top of that story, tragedy is 9 youth corps members drown in Taraba River. Nothing will make me abandon clamor for better Nigeria, coming from Obasanjo. Igbo interested in restructuring, not presidency. Ohaneze IPOB. Lagos Ibadan Rail, federal government to deploy 16 locomotives, 40 coaches, others. And the last one, housewife stabs husband to death over telephone call.
What a wife.
And there's a picture there. That's the erosion site.
Gully erosion.
Gully erosion. That's a very serious one. There's serious threats to environments there.
I once did a project. I had a book I wrote from a story like this that I went in the news organization I was working in before, and it led to a German organization, the Heinrich Böll Foundation, and sponsoring a book on gully erosions in Igbo land, particularly in southeast region and Anambra. Particularly because I found that Anambra is the headquarters.
That picture is just behind the government house.
Exactly. So, and I think we've been doing. I know myself, and I know some other people who we were working together. I did that book in 2012, and we've been working together nationally and internationally.
Let's see who's here. Hello. Hello. Good morning. Oh, we lost that. Go on.
So, and we're working together nationally, locally, and internationally to raise awareness on this gully erosion. Every time it rains, both flooding and erosion gives us a raw deal, particularly in this part of Nigeria. And I am begging, I am calling on anybody who is contributing or has to help, but particularly those who help to aggravate the problem too, they should restrain, because our people still build on the line of water or rainwater. Our people still build on drainages. We still don't test our soil when we do excavations and when we do some road constructions or building constructions. These are things we should do. There's a groundswell of campaign against this gully erosion. But I'm not seeing a lot of interest groups within the southeast. I'm not saying they see it as only government thing. Every neighborhood society, landlord association, vigilante should recruit to it and call it a duty. Every writer should devote time to address this. Journalists too. It's not a small thing.
That's a great deal of work to be done.
I did my project for 2 years.
All right, let's run for want of time. Let's quickly take the two papers that we have left together, the Tribune and the Guardian newspapers. From the Tribune, the big headline that says, why APC can't demand Saraki's resignation. That's coming from Falona. How APC raises alarm over plans to forcefully unseat Saraki. At the left side, we have 9 state exco members dump Oshun APC. Kano Deputy Governor resigns. Southwest farmers in suspense at Nisral holds disbursed CBN loan of fear losing planting season. A presidency begs Saraki Dogara to reconvene National Assembly. And Akpabio meets Buhari in London. Ozobolo community holds memorial mass for 13 slain worshippers today. Right on the Guardian newspapers, the last but not the least, the RAPC PDP alleged plot to bribe lawmakers impeach Saraki with riders there. Buhari won't waste taxpayers' money on Senate President. Speakers adopts report on financial autonomy for legislatures. Down here we have 35% drop in investment, hobbles rural telephony. And we also have, does additional wealth induce increased expenditure? And we still have the same gully erosion picture on this. So let's take the big headlines there as we wrap up.
Yeah, still we still have that resurfacing about the plot to impeach the Senate President. Yeah. And interestingly, if you check the headlines of Guardian, we had a split. We had two headlines that address the same thing almost, as regards the Senate President and the Speaker plans to unseat them. So there's a groundswell, and then they call for begging the National Assembly to reconvene. Yes. Now, what does that mean? It means that every other thing about development now has actually been halted. I wouldn't use the word halted. It may look extreme, but everything has been funneled to the issues of defection and the National Assembly. Okay. We shouldn't be, because we are in the mid-year. Let me talk economically. And every journalist should be keen on this. We are in the mid-year. And our own mid-year this is the third quarter, the beginning of the third quarter of the year. Yeah. And why it is crucial is that we have been running the budget more like a supplementary, or more like spending what was, let me break it down, spending what was approved, what was used last year, because the budget wasn't approved. So this is about the time we have just started to implement the goals of 2018 in the budget. And when we forget that we have just begun to do the things we intend to do in 2018, on the 8th month, after 7 months had gone, we may face this internal politics of National Assembly and defection. We will lose the year. And the year is almost gone, because by September you begin to talk of what to do in 2019.
All right.
So my fear is that the economy is taking a backseat terribly. And that's why I also highlighted the fact that we are not doing up to key in the matter of economy when it comes to agri.
All right, we can actually go on and on, but for want of time, I think this is where the segment of our newspaper review terminates. We must appreciate you so much, Sir Chuka Nabife, for coming on the show.
The birthday, man.
And
thank you and happy birthday.
We're also wishing you the same. Do have a lovely day. Thank you so much for coming. And we must go.